Welcome back, I'm Adrienne, and today I'm going to be showing you my top 10 recommendations if you're looking for a fun thriller to pick up. These 10 are either book or author recommendations when you are looking for that mystery, thriller, suspense book and trying to have a good time. So some of my favorite thrillers are ones that really transcend the genre, make you cry, make you think, but this group that I'm going to show you are just when you're here for a good time. You don't need to feel too much, you don't need the heartbreak, you just want crazy twists and fun plot lines. The first book I'm going to recommend is Look Closer by David Ellis. This book is such a good time. We are following a wealthy couple. One of their neighbors is murdered, made to look like suicide, and we're trying to figure out, are either of them involved? Meanwhile, we've got cheating going on, we've got financial crimes, we've got a $20 million inheritance, along with grudges and backstories and revenge. And I love revenge in a thriller, so I really enjoyed this one. It's a little long, but I think it's really worth it, and there's enough stuff going on in the story to make it really enjoyable. So if you're looking for just a fun, good time, pick this one up. Next up, I have Pines by Blake Crouch. This book follows a man who goes to a town in Idaho because two FBI agents went there on an assignment and nobody's heard from them since. He is here to investigate what happened to them, where are they, and what is going on in this strange little town. So starting off, he's in some sort of accident where he loses all of his stuff. He has no phone, no ID, and no one in the town really believes he is who he says he is. They don't know what he's talking about with the agents that he's come to look for. And the town itself is just like a little creepy and weird. So our main character here is investigating. He's looking around the town. He sees weird things going on in the town and people acting strangely. So he's trying to look into what's going on, what happened to those agents, and things get kind of crazy. The little town has like a spookiness to it. And then some of the twists that happen were just like such a crazy good time. I really enjoyed when I got to that point. So definitely recommend if you're looking for like a weird, fun, small town investigation. Next up, I have Riley Sager. So I know Riley Sager is so recommended, but I actually did not like Riley Sager for the first couple of books I read from him. There was something about his writing that I just could not get on board with until I came across this one. So this is The House Across the Lake. I've since enjoyed multiple books by Riley Sager, but this one is a typical like thriller plotline where we have this alcoholic woman in a house going through a weird time. So she is a very troubled woman. She's drinking every day and night, and then she's also interacting with the neighbors, and there is a storm coming. So this woman is a widow. She is grieving, healing, and her neighbor one day is drowning in the lake, and she rescues her, and then she starts becoming a little too intertwined with that woman and her relationship in the house across the lake, and that starts to get her into some trouble. That lady's husband is really weird. This book just gets unhinged. So if you're sick of the drunk alcoholic main character in a thriller, maybe you won't enjoy this, but I just thought it was fun and a little silly what was happening. And it can be a good time following an unreliable narrator who like just can't get their stuff together to figure out what is going on. But I thought it was fun. I have learned to take Riley Sager a little less seriously, and I think that's contributed to my ability to enjoy his books now. But he definitely has quite a few that I think are a good time. And I would say if you've tried a couple of his books before earlier, maybe pick up something more recent and you might feel a little different about his books. Next up is another author recommendation, Megan Miranda. So the one I decided to show is The Last to Vanish, which is one of her books that I gave 5 stars. So all of Megan Miranda's books are set in a very atmospheric area. It's usually a small town, either in the mountains, on the beach, on a river, a lake, but very like nature incorporated in a little small town where everyone knows each other. So in this book, we're following a woman who works at an inn, and in this town, they're surrounded by mountains, and she is one of the trail guides in the mountains. but over the last 10 or 20 years, multiple people have gone missing. So part of the mystery is the people throughout the years, did they disappear from the dangerous hiking trails? Did something more nefarious happen? And in the beginning of this book, we have a journalist come to town because he wants to investigate these missing people, and then he himself goes out on a hike and disappears. Months later, his brother comes to see what happened, and he really starts to dig into all the missing people, including his brother, and make the town a little uncomfortable with the outsiders coming in and questioning them. So this one is so atmospheric. I remember the opening scene is like a storm brewing, coming into this cozy inn set in the mountains. Oh, it's so much fun just being there. And then we also get like a thrilling mystery and danger around every corner as well. So Megan Miranda writes a lot of books that I feel the same way about. She had a couple of duds, but I tend to love her mix of mountains or some sort of outdoorsy environment plus her mystery thrilling details. Next, I have All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. Now this one is a book recommendation. The author after this wrote a book that I thought was terrible. So my recommendation is specifically for All the Dangerous Things. This book follows a woman whose toddler son went missing maybe a year ago. And since then, she is unable to sleep. So her son going missing has completely upheaved her life, of course, but now her husband and her have gotten divorced because she can't like move on. She can't sleep. She just does that like micro sleep thing. She can't have a full night of rest because she's so consumed with her missing son and trying to find him and going on podcasts and doing talks just to like get the word out and keep the investigation alive. And then things are happening where she is having memories from her childhood and just getting a little delusional from the sleep deprivation that's making her question whether her memory of the night her son went missing is accurate. What details is she missing? She's trying to walk through what could have possibly happened. And just this woman's obsession with finding out the truth was just so captivating to follow and so entertaining and engaging. I think this is another trope that's been done a lot of times. So the sleep deprived woman who, again, the sleep deprivation is making her an unreliable narrator. But I just thought it was done in such a fun, refreshing way, a little bit different than I've seen happen before. And I thought it was a really entertaining time. And now back to another author recommendation. I have Shari Lapena. The one I pulled for this video is The End of Her, just because I really remember enjoying the ending of this book. But Shari Lapena writes the classic domestic popcorn thrillers, super entertaining books. This one again has like a very overdone trope of a woman that has twin babies. So she herself is very sleep deprived from taking care of her children. Meanwhile, a woman comes and accuses her husband of murdering his first wife. And just so many things happen from there. It gets really wild and crazy. So again, we have the kind of unreliable characters. We have people who are lying and we don't know what's happening. But I just remember the end of this one I thought was very entertaining because the options and the different story lines where it could have went were pretty good. And Shari Lapena usually has like multiple plot twists, multiple different storylines that have different twists of their own. So there's always like many facets for you to follow, multiple twists, so there's no way you can guess all of them. And she has been one of my favorite authors for a while, so highly recommend. Moving along now to Peter Swanson. So Peter Swanson, I feel like is best known for his book The Kind Worth Killing, which is a great one that's actually turned into a trilogy now, which is really fun. The one I picked up here is called Before She Knew Him. I'm realizing now as I give out these recommendations that these are books that do fall into some classic fantasy tropes, but I think it's a trope I've seen so many times, but then this time it was like really well done, and that's why I love a lot of these. So this one again follows an unreliable woman. This one because she has some mental health issues that she's working through and medicine she's taking. everyone loves to give a main character medicine that might affect their brain. But she has a new neighbor move in, and this guy is super nice, inviting. They have her and her husband over, and she thinks that she recognizes something that he has sitting on his mantle as evidence of an unsolved crime. And what I enjoyed about this book was the way that our main character, the woman, and this guy, her neighbor, like see each other, because we get both of their perspectives. And there's something so entertaining about how they can look at each other and be like, oh my god, I bet he figured this out. So she's like, that's some evidence. He must have killed this unsolved crime victim. And he's like, I just saw her recognize that piece of evidence. She must know blah, 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 or things like that. So it's just funny to see people like understand each other so well in this circumstance, because a lot of times in thrillers there's so much miscommunication, misunderstanding, people not realizing things, believing things, and these ones, like, they both see what's going on at all times, which makes it very entertaining. There are some crazy silly tropes at the end that are like so classic thriller, but still such a fun time. So getting up to my top couple of recommendations, next I have My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. This book is such a fun one. This one follows a woman who, for the third time, her sister's boyfriend has turned up dead. Well, obviously a third different boyfriend. And again, it's like some tragic circumstance or self-defense, so her sister says, but our main character is like, okay, can it really be self-defense every time? Like, what's going on here? But she is dedicated to protecting her sister, helping her not get caught, not get into trouble. But now our main character, even though she keeps taking care of these things, she starts to find a love interest in her life and a guy that she's interested in, and now she sees her sister maybe gonna cause some trouble for her. So this one is definitely satire. It's definitely supposed to be funny, and I thought it was very funny and entertaining, but it still has all those thrilling, exciting moments of like trying to get away with murder, trying to hide a crime, and trying to stop crimes from happening, while also including like a sister weird messed up family relationship. So another one that I just had such a good time reading, and it was fun, a lot of fun. And now finally I have one of the kookiest, craziest thrillers here with some of the best twists. This is Confessions by Kanae Minato. This is translated from Japanese. And in this book, we follow a teacher who works at a school where her 4-year-old daughter also attends, and something tragic happens to her daughter. And our main character, the teacher, gives a lecture to her students. And this follows one of the most unhinged revenge plots I've ever read. It really gets wild. There's revenge taken out against a lot of people, and it's like the ultimate like get back in the craziest, darkest way, but still in an entertaining way. But there's a lot of twists and turns and decisions that our main character makes that you're just like, oh my god, this is why we don't mess with people, because you never know like who is the crazy one that you're dealing with. So it was wild. It was a good time, and I think it's like the ultimate fun, good time thriller. Alright, so those are all of my recommendations. If you have recommendations as well for just like the fun, good time, don't take it too seriously thriller, please let me know below. Let me know which one of these books you've read and enjoyed, and I will see you again very soon in another video. Bye!